guys, it's Dakota. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about something that I found very interesting lately, which is Formula One. I clicked on the show on Netflix one day and pretty much fell in love with it. I think it's just really cool.
You, buddy, what's your name? Stan. Oh!
So naturally, I started engaging with F1 content on social media and quickly noticed that it's a little weird. The content around Formula One is different than content around other sports, and it's definitely leading the fandom to put the drivers through babygirl-ification. For starters, being a fan and being in the fandom are two different things. So what I'm mentioning mostly pertains to the online fandom, not just people that like Formula One. And it's fine to be in a fandom. I myself have been trapped in an F1 echo chamber for 2 weeks, but fandoms and stalker fans, or stans, are much more likely to develop parasocial relationships than the average fan. And these intense parasocial relationships is when things start to go downhill. Which brings us to the fandom Babygirl. The first result on Urban Dictionary says that a babygirl is a grown fictional man that has the fandom in a loving chokehold. I would take things a step further. Babygirl is often not just a label, but more like an assigned persona from the fandom. And babygirl-ification is what takes a regular character or person and turns them into a baby girl. Babygirls are too pure for this world or must be protected at all cost, basically like a Gen Z version of a small bean or a cinnamon roll. These men are seen as innocent, sweet, naive, and just kind of childlike overall. But the problem with calling Formula One drivers baby girl is that they actually exist. They're not fictional characters. You can't just create a personality for them. And yet a lot of these fandom members are. And this has been happening before the term baby girl was even popular, mostly to bands like One Direction. Harry Styles was like the original baby girl, and this baby girl persona came out a lot in fan fiction. And Harry was a good starting point for what was to become a baby girl, because he was good looking and really sweet to fans, and just kind of known to be funny and ditzy overall. And somebody seen very similarly is Formula One's little Lando Norris.
And it's all too much for little Lando Norris.
From what I've gathered from Instagram and my single Tumblr search, Lando Norris seems to be the ultimate F1 baby girl. First off, he's talented and on a top team, but Lando also has a baby face and is known to do funny and childish things in interviews.
What's funny? What's going on here?
He's crying!
Don't worry.
And I thought he was 19. He's 24. I accidentally watched the latest season of Drive to Survive first and then had to go back and watch the earlier ones, and I was like, wait, what's he doing here? I didn't know he was around then. I told you I was new at this, but the way that the fandom treated him, I never really questioned my original assumption about his age. And a lot of other drivers are also subject to this, like Max Verstappen, Charles Leclerc, Carlos Sainz, and pretty much all the other ones too.
Need to hire a new driver for our Formula One team. All right, what about this driver? How are their lap times? They're solid. Race experience? F3 champion and competitive in F2. Have enough super license points. They do. They bring money and sponsors to the team. Yeah, absolutely. But are they baby girl? I'm sorry, what? Can't we just focus on what they bring to the table as a driver without infantilizing and fetishizing them? Don't we find the incessant labeling of idols and fandoms inherently problematic? Oh, it's fun. Absolutely not. You are so funny. That is so baby girl coded.
McLaren posted one of those joke videos where they say, please watch my driver, and it was about Oscar Piastri. Oscar literally looks at the camera a little confused and then continues to eat his breakfast, and the comments were like, he's never beating the baby girl allegations.
Hey guys, can you just watch my driver for a sec?
What?
Okay. I guess someone's watching me eat breakfast then.
The man was eating breakfast. The video was funny, but Oscar Piastri was just eating breakfast. Also, she said baby girl allegations, which I think is funny. But some drivers have been baby girled more than others, and there tends to be a common theme. It's not necessarily about age, but the drivers that look or act younger are the ones that tend to be infantilized. Like George Russell is going to be baby girled more than Sergio Perez, and Daniel Ricciardo is going to be baby girled more than Kevin Magnussen, even though Daniel is older. Baby girl is like a state of mind. And yes, I think this video might be the worst one on my channel. So why is Formula One so susceptible to babygirl-ification? There's a lot of reasons. For starters, F1 is a very showy sport. The drivers hold a lot of weight when it comes to advertising, so the fans are getting a lot of curated content from their teams, painting the drivers in the best, most endearing light. But probably the biggest thing is that a lot of them produce their own content, which also makes them seem like genuinely nice people as well. They post on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube and are often involved with things like fandom memes, which makes people love them even more. And the guys get clipped all the time, so people take interviews, promotional content, and even video game live streams and stitch them together to make edits. And I love a good edit, especially a funny compilation, but these videos are making the fans see the drivers in a certain way, and they're making a connection to an image that doesn't necessarily reflect the actual driver. So when their image is so positive in today's internet culture, the fans are not just going to love the drivers, they're going to fall in love with the drivers. But how can you fall in love with someone that you don't know? That's where the problem is. Psychology Today describes a parasocial relationship as a one-sided relationship in which a person develops a strong sense of connection, intimacy, or familiarity with someone they don't know, most often celebrities or media personalities. They're very common in sports, and that's why people yell at the TV or I say "nice hit, kid" to the 35-year-old Phillies player that can't hear me through the screen. These parasocial relationships tend to be less invasive because they're based on the athlete's performance. But now with the internet, people have become more and more comfortable with sharing their sexual obsessions with these athletes. I'm from the US, so Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow is the first one to come to mind, but a ton of young NHL players have also gotten attention for this as well. Like Formula One, there's a hockey boy fandom that's active online, and also like F1, it is just as invasive and creepy. But because of the influx of personalized content from the F1 drivers, the fans feel a deeper parasocial connection than they do in other sports. And chances are, every fan does this a little bit. Like, I feel a weird loyalty to Max Verstappen because he reminds me of my cousin. But there's also so much lore between the drivers because so many of them have known each other for so long that it makes the fans want to dig deeper into their past and personal lives. But a lot of the time, the fans are only getting part of the information, so they try to piece together, but more like manufacture, the rest of the story. I hate fanfiction about real people because I feel like it's a breach of privacy and makes me uncomfortable, and I was trying to do my journalistic duty of researching this stuff and I literally couldn't bring myself to read any of the stories. Fanfiction about F1 is very popular according to my limited Tumblr searches, and just like with One Direction, the writers don't actually know any of the drivers, so they're basically just creating characters for them. And I'm positive that these writers really do care about the drivers, but the characters that they create then bleed into reality, and they expect the real people to act like their fandom personas in real life. The parasocial relationships are just going too far, and it's starting to really affect their personal lives. I saw a TikTok the other day where someone took clips of the drivers at a party in Monaco and said stuff like, "I want drama, I want adultery, I want chaos," and a bunch of people in the comments were agreeing with them. But like, why? It's not a reality show, and I'm not going to replace someone's girlfriend anyway, so why wouldn't I just want the drivers to be happy and focused on winning? I don't get it. Like, I hate when Philadelphia players get into drama. Your job is football. And I don't want to see your name in the news unless it's about football. But of course, I have to mention Max Verstappen's girlfriend, Kelly Piquet, and their extremely scrutinized relationship. People just kind of attack her for any reason, and she often gets the standard, she's a whore, she doesn't deserve him kind of thing. She does have a daughter with Daniel Kvyat. Sorry, bro. He's a former F1 racer. But the main thing that people will bring up is that Kelly is 9 years older than Max, and they're a little worried about predatory origins of the relationship. I have found no evidence of anything weird starting when he was young. And I've talked about predators on this channel before. It's not something that I'm afraid to bring up or call out. But I'm not gonna push a narrative that doesn't have any concrete evidence. People will say things like, oh, she's old enough to be his mom. She's not. Or they'll say things like, oh, she's ruining his time to be young and have fun. Maybe it is fun to be with her. Kelly Piquet is not the problem. The real problem is that Max Verstappen is infantilized by this fandom. Even though he's a grown-ass man of 26 with 3 championships, millions of dollars, and is perfectly capable of making his own decisions, people still see him as a baby girl. I personally wouldn't want to date someone 9 years older than me, but in case it took you this long to notice, I am not Max Verstappen.
Okay, let's see who's behind all this.
My personal feelings about an age gap mean nothing to that relationship, and neither do pretty much anybody else's. This parasocial relationship makes fandom members think that they know what's best for Max, even though they don't really know the real him, and he doesn't know them at all. At the end of the day, Max seems happy, Kelly seems happy, and Kelly's daughter Penelope seems happy. And if you're a real fan of Max Verstappen, that's what you want. I don't really have any profound final thoughts besides go touch grass. It's perfectly fine to be a part of this fandom and interact with content and support these guys, but you have to realize that they're their own people, not just what you make them. And if there's somehow an actual Formula One racer watching this video, learn from Harry Styles. If a movie's coming out and just seems a little too familiar, investigate. Get your money, or just ignore it and spare your mental health. That's probably a good option too. But anyway, that's it for today, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and as always, have a great rest of your day.